Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. Excited to be here with young blood, young energy, Daniel Peter, singer, songwriter, and also producer. And he loves music. So he's going to talk to us a little bit about where you grew up, how you got into music, and what you love about it.
Of course. So first off, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Sure.
It's definitely such a blessing, man. Originally, I'm from Iowa.
Okay.
So I used to live in a farm,
Right.
farmland with my mother and father.
Right.
And the way that I got more into music was because my father was actually the leader of the music in my church.
Oh, okay, got it.
So he played guitar, piano, harmonica, saxophone, just an incredibly musically inclined, artist himself.
Sure.
And when he met my mother, he actually gave up pursuing it as an actual thing for himself,
right,
his career.
Yeah.
He had his own band called Willie and the Rockets, which actually dined with Queen.
Right. Oh,
Freddie
wow. Okay.
Mercury.
Sure.
So
everyone knows Queen.
right.
Yeah.
So essentially, that's in my blood. You know, it boils
right.
every single time I see
Right.
a studio board.
Sure.
You know, every single time I'm on another program.
Right.
So my dad was the biggest catalyst for pushing me forward with music.
Sure.
My mom would always, cheerlead on the
Right,
side.
right,
She can't,
right.
she can't
Right.
sing,
Produce,
but
right.
she puts the love into it.
Sure. Who are some of your musical inspirations? Some of the artists you look up to?
So growing up, I listened to a lot of older style artists like
Cool.
Babyface,
Yeah, okay.
Aaliyah,
Right,
Temptations,
sure. Right,
New Edition. Michael Jackson was my all-time
Right, sure.
top, right?
Right.
Bobby Brown, all of them, right?
Sure.
I'd say I got that bigger R&B influence from people like Babyface
Right.
and the Temptations. So that propelled me into what I am now within the R&B realm, with Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and Earth, Wind, and Fire,
Right.
those kind of vibes. So that's brought me the soul.
Right.
On the other side, I grew up listening to Justin Timberlake,
Right, sure.
Usher,
Of course,
Chris
right.
Brown,
Sure.
Justin Bieber,
Right.
and I kind of wanted to bring that real soul back from 80s, 90s.
Right. Best of the old and the new.
Exactly.
Right.
Into sort of a style that's like an alternative, but everyone understands where the roots of it is.
Sure. Absolutely.
So
tell us about what you're doing now and getting assigned with the major label.
of course. So being signed to Final Level Music, which is founded by Ice-T, Hinji Garcia, has been an incredible opportunity for me because I've been around a lot more West Coast artists, more of just the music scene, going more towards the kind of the West Coast, the New York style, bringing it in to now the production that I do now.
Sure.
So Hinji, bringing in elements from New York,
Right.
like in the music, right?
Right.
So just bringing that in and having that real hip hop sense in the pop music, in the R&B realm,
Sure.
and just playing around with that.
Right.
And
Sure.
so being with Final Level Music has brought me a lot of opportunities with other artists that they also have within the label.
Sure.
But it's also helped me to grow as a person and learn the codes within the industry.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's a big thing.
Our show's called Music and Medicine. Is there a way that you feel like music has been your medicine?
Yes. I suffer from a few, mental issues, just like everybody else normally going through it in America right now.
Right, sure.
So depression, PTSD, insomnia, anxiety, all that kind of stuff. Music is my moment where I can just let it all go. Feel free.
Right.
I can put myself in a place where when I'm creating, I see colors or I feel vibrations.
Right.
I'm not worried about everything else going on out here because when I'm in that moment, that's my moment. I'm not having anybody else try to project any other type of energy when I'm in my space.
Sure.
You know?
Are there certain songs or even certain artists even today that might be on your playlist that really sort of help you with that? Because so many people say, I'm dealing with mental health issues, like you said, so many of us are, and I'm not sure exactly what song to turn to or what music. What does Daniel listen to? What's he listening to today, last week?
Right. As far as music, definitely Beatles. As you know, the Beatles was at the forefront of helping people heal during the wars.
Yes, let it be.
Right, exactly. So basically, I want to be like that next healer for our world. Within what I do know and what I continue to learn. So for me in music, it's all about the feelings of expression and being able to heal, move forward, and also attribute to other people's lines of, okay, I see him doing it, I can do it too.
Exactly right.
You know what I mean? Like they're inspired. Aspire to be inspired.
Right.
So that's what I am.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, that's great. Tell us where we can find you and learn more about your music and get to hear your sound.
You can find me at www.iamdanielpeter.com, as well as all social media is I am Daniel Peter. So.
Pretty straightforward. Tell us about a key moment where you felt like I've really finally arrived and I'm really getting to do what I love at that professional level, basically maybe for my dad.
So my father passed before I moved to LA. So I feel like when I first came to LA, that was my break-in moment. Like I felt my father's spirit, I felt the soul around me, I felt the soul in me, and I was just like, that's my moment, this is my time. Like I'm breaking out from everything else I ever thought, everything else anyone ever told me. I know what I want, I know what I'm going to be, and I'm gonna walk in my purpose. And no one can tell me differently.
Absolutely. No, definitely. Tell us about the way that your father lives in you now, because you seem so inspired to really basically walk in his footsteps and create that pathway that he had started on. Right.
So I feel very adamant about, keeping my dad's legacy alive, because not only, he was very musically inclined and he gave it all up for, his family to have me, and his wife, but because of the genuine person that he was, like the actual love that he gave to people, like he was never a taker. He always gave, and that's what I always admired about him. Walking every day in the shoes that I am now, like I know that my father's with me. And I know that the biggest part of my father was the fact that he was genuinely a real person. Like there was nothing that my father would have done to hurt people, and I live the same principles. Like I'll never lie, steal, cheat. Like my family grew up, not ever even discussing divorce. So I grew up around real love and all this other stuff. So my mind is completely wired to real love, give love to people, give positivity out, so people can have something to hold on to and believe in, because the belief is the first step to actually pursuing. If you believe, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do it. There's nobody that should be able to tell you any different.
Sure. Last question. What advice for some young person, you're pretty young yourself though, do you feel you would give to somebody who may be dealing with that, a tragic loss, a sense of self-doubt, and really wants to maybe go into music as a way to continue to express, who they are and filter out the negative?
Right. Well, as far as music goes, frequency interacts with certain regional parts of our brain. So it's responsible for how we feel happy, how we feel sad. There's certain frequencies that you can put in music and make people feel how you want them to feel. So if you feel a certain way, you can put that in your music. There's a certain way that you basically give off your energy. There could be a sad record and everybody else may relate to that. You have something that someone else can relate to, and because of the fact that you're not talking about it, they may not have a crutch to hold on to, or they may not have hope that someone else is going through the same things. People just want to understand that I'm not alone.
Right.
You know, and we constantly, especially in the depression episode we're all in today, they all put themselves in a box where it's like, oh, like, I can't do this, I can't do that. Remove can't. You will do it, and you're gonna be great at it, you know? So don't put yourself in a position where you can't, because you can. So as long as you believe, just push your purpose. Keep walking in purpose. That's it.
I love it. You heard it from him himself, Daniel Peter, artist signed with Final Level Music, and just really emoting today about how he really not only is being true to his father's legacy, but also to the concept of overcoming something that so many people face today: depression, anxiety, issues of self-doubt, PTSD, and basically really using music as a refuge and a way to express himself, but also something that he feels he can empower anybody to say, hey, don't use words like I cannot, and use words like I will do. And really being positive about that next step is something that we hope that you hear the sincerity in his words. Thanks so much for joining us.
It is a pleasure.
Sure. Thanks for coming. Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis.